A very warm welcome, everyone, to the Skillify session powered by Amity University Online. My name is Dr. Monica Rose, and today we are going to talk on how you can build leadership qualities using power of influence. All right. So, power, what does power imply? Basically, power is the way how we can influence others' behavior in a coercive or non-coercive manner using, specific tactics. Now, in here, if we look at the leader, what leader does is using these kind of power tactics in order to bring in the change in the people. Now, if here the leader is making use of the influence, then it helps him develop the kind of trust and loyalty within his team. And that is why influence is a very important component for the leader. All right. Can I ask you to please, go back and think of a person, in your life whom you know that is not, successful because in career or in his life because of a certain behavior? Or how many of you can think of an organization which could have been, significantly successful if its people would have behaved a little bit differently? So what we are talking about here is, it is not that leaders that does not give their best in the way the organizational processes, the people are motivated, supported, all those things. However, the biggest challenge here is what? Not the learning, but the way how this learning is understood by people in terms of their actions, their behaviors. So what are we trying to establish here is that, if I talk to you about this girl who wants to lose the weight and is standing in front of the fridge door thinking that there is a chocolate cake inside and she has to eat it, right? Whether she will open that door to eat it or not, what kind of willpower and how strong is that willpower she is, to resist that impulse. So, what we are saying is, when the leader makes those strategic decisions, those product concepts, there is nothing wrong in there. The issue that we face is in terms of execution. That means the individuals, who are acting upon the concept in terms of their, behavior, their activities, are not utilizing their 100% potential. Now, I am talking about you as an individual or you as a leader handling the entire team. Whichever ways, how can you change these things which are happening in your life? Say, for example, if you are trying to lose that weight, and every time you try, after a while you fall back to the same routine, right? If you're trying to achieve that 80% score in your exam, you try, but again you fall back to the same percentage. Or if you're trying to maybe get that kind of job, or lose smoking habits or any other habits, but are not able to do it, does that mean you do not have motivation? Yeah. If say, we take example of this girl and name her Anuja. Okay, so Anuja is one example of a person, and this is based on research. She tried to lose her weight, right? N number of times. She followed lot of diet routines to make sure that her weight goes down. But after a while following these diet routine, she came back to the same, back to square one weight that she had. I give you another example of a person. Let's name him Suresh. Okay. Now, Suresh was a very loyal person, right? And he was the one person who could be the one, you can go for any crisis situation that happened in the organization. Okay. However, Suresh could not perform as well in day to day organizational work that he was expected to. So his boss came to him and told him, "Look, Suresh, you need to, show me that kind of performance. Otherwise, I will not be able to help you out." So an year passed by. Next year again, boss met Suresh and said, Suresh, I cannot promise your job anymore if you're not able to show me, the performance that is expected out of you. And eventually, third year, Suresh lost his job. Now, what do you think here in case of Anuja, or in case of Suresh, or in case of the student who wants to score that percentage or get into that kind of university is not able to do it? Do you think there is lack of motivation here? No. The losing of job was a huge drive for Suresh to show that kind of behavior that that his boss wanted, or for Anuja to leave those kind of, or maybe control those impulses so that she is able to lose those extra few kgs. So the motivation was there. It was not lack of motivation, it was something else that was influencing that behavior. So that is what we are talking about, influence. And this influence comes from where? Person's emotions, opinions, their behavior, which is influenced by a lot of factors around us. So what do we do? How do we change this behavior? And I'm telling you, the magic stick here is to change all of that is through influence. So principle number one here is that you look at one, those key vital behaviors, those 20% vital behaviors that are causing that 80% of the result that is happening, right? If you identify those, then we move on to influencing these behaviors in such a manner that we are able to bring the change. All right. So what kind of change are we talking about? So here the fundamental thing is the motivation and the ability. Are you motivated enough to bring this change? Is Anuja motivated enough to lose weight? Is Suresh motivated enough to perform in his job role or not? Yeah. Now again, the motivation may or may not be there. Are you willing to work to an extent where you will be able to perform in your job, in your academic performance, or any xyz area? All right, so first thing that you have to see, the motivation aspect and then ability, and these we analyze in terms of personal, social, and structural. Now if you are the leader here, okay, what you have to see is, if I want to make my team positive towards me, make my team more productive, how I can look at my team? Then the first thing that I have to see is the individuals in the team. Second, I have to see people who are surrounding these individuals or the team with which I'm working. And third thing that you have to see is the rewards that I have aligned in my team. Okay, so considering all this and as well as individual aspect, these are key things that play very important role. Now let's understand them one by one. Let's take personal first. All right, so in terms of personal, my personal motivation, I look at Anuja and I think whether or not Anuja will open that fridge door or not to eat that slice of cake. What do you think? If you were there, will you open or not? Because it is not a matter of once or twice. She had done that kind of control mechanism on her diet plenty of times, which actually did not show any results which sustained. So will Anuja open that door of fridge or not? She has to make a stand here to make that undesirable desirable, whether or not Suresh wants his job to continue or not. Yeah, so clearly we see there is motivation. Lack of motivation has to be worked out accordingly. So you need to first see whether I'm motivated or not. Second is ability. Ability is, do I have ample skills in order to perform or be able to sustain that kind of motivation? So I give you example of Anuja, what she did. So she said, this time I'm not going to kill myself for diet. I will follow the diet routine, but I'm not saying I will diet. Every time I had that, I had that urge to eat something, I will go and eat it. However, when I sit to eat anything that I feel like, there is a written message that she wrote that I will read this message to myself. And the message, what message had? It had, after I eat this slice of cake, whether my husband will respect me or not the way I want him to, whether I look myself in the mirror and appreciate the way I look or not, whether my friends will, like me in the shape I am or not, whether my grandchildren will like me in the way I'm continuing myself or not. And you know what? Beforehand, what happened with her was every time she thought of cake, the kind of, her mouth had that watering thing, and she could feel that taste of, melting chocolate in her mouth and all that experience of enjoying the piece of slice of cake. That happened. But now, when she read this message, she had a different kind of, feeling. Every time she was eating a slice of cake or maybe a piece of cake from the slice, she was not enjoying it that much, right? So the experience, the behavior was slightly changing. So she suitably skilled herself to support the motivation that she had to change this behavior. Same ways, if the manager is looking at his team, the leader is looking at his team, what he needs to see, whether my team members, my individuals, are they, understanding the meaning of this process, are they willing to change if required, right? And whether or not their whatever process they're working in is in cognizance with their abilities or not. Okay, so motivation. And if that is not, as a leader, what I'll do, I'll try to find out all the unpleasurable feelings or aspects of that process, discussing with my team, and make them pleasurable. And ability, I will train my team accordingly and retrain and try to make them capable enough to perform in that process. So this is category 1. Second is social. So what happens in social is that I'm looking at people around me, how people around me influence me, right? So in social motivation, uh, taking example of Suresh, now what happened with Suresh was that he knew how to work and what are expectations of the manager, right? But he used to sit alone, have his lunch, in a corner of his room, and that ways. Now he got into another job after losing this one, and he changed his behavior. He went out with the team who had lunch, so that he is able to create a kind of relationship with people, understand the way how he can interact with people, what people expect from him, and his behavior start developing in that sense, right? So people around you, how they influence you. In case of Anuja, if you see that she knew that she had that kind of impulse of eating, but she has to lose her weight, what she did, she knew that every weekend she'll go out with those friends only, and those same friends will eat the similar kind of go to the same kind of places and eat similar kind of food items, which are eventually going to add on her calorie limits. So she said no, no weekends with these, these are not friends, these are accomplices who are making me indulge in a behavior that is not required, right? So harnessing peer pressure, a manager, a leader, what he'll do, he'll see in my team who are the people who are willing to work, who can work, and he'll promote them, so that they set an example in the entire team and cause positive work environment. Okay. And then in terms of ability, in ability, you will see how you can do this thing, in an action form. So what Anuja did was that on weekends, she identified another set of people who were more towards mindful eating, right? So that she can have, visits to gym and be around with people who motivated her to follow her set goals and objectives, right? Same ways, what a manager can do is create champions out of his team, so that these positive minded people make more positive team, and this increases in number, leads to higher level of trust and loyalty among the team, and you increase the strength in numbers. Third category of this influence is structural. So in terms of structural, what do we mean by structural is how the environment around me is influencing me. Okay, so if the environment around me is appreciating my behavior, is rewarding my behavior, I'll continue with that. Right. I give you example of small kids here very quickly because we are looking at time. So now this is an instance of Halloween, and there were bunch of kids around. There were two baskets placed for these kids. In one basket there were a lot of chocolates and all these sweet items that kids love to eat. In another basket there were apples which were kept, and the kids they were told, okay, you can go and have whatever you want to have. So what happened? So 98% of these kids, they jumped on these chocolates and all. Only few of them went for apples. Why? Because their moms were watching. Now in terms of structural motivation, how we can do it? What was done in here to coerce these kids into positive behavior? A placard was placed. Okay. Second time, a placard was placed, and on it there was a picture or image of Batman. Okay. And Batman was eating this apple, right? And it was written, Batman eats and hence he's so strong. So what do you think he will eat? Okay. And then the next bunch of kids came and they were shown these two baskets. Now tell me, what do you think what would have happened? Here, the number of kids that went to eating apple were higher than the ones which went for chocolates. So structural, how your environment influences you, how you uh, you know um, how you understand the kind of incentive or the rewards that you are getting for this kind of behavior, right? In case of Anuja, when she looks at how many calories she has lost, is a reward for herself. For a manager, what kind of reward you are providing to your team members, how you are promoting them, how you are incentivizing them, how you are making them accountable also for the responsibilities you are giving. That means you are empowering them, influences the way they are motivated. And then in terms of ability is forming those kind of policies, procedures, and kind of reminders that you keep giving to the individuals, to themselves and the team, so that they remain focused to what they're expected to, help you develop that kind of inclination towards continuing towards your objective. So change the environment around you. So this is the third aspect of your influence. So here we say these are the six major wise men that you have, which you can use in order to bring the change in behavior in anyone. And there was this article which is written in MIT Sloan, which talks about these six sources of influence which help bring change. Not only change that is 10x change in the person, which has been proven by using these six influences. So what are these influences? Number one is the personal motivation and personal ability. So personal motivation, what should be my strategy? That I connect organizational values to the values of these individuals, so that they are able to understand what is the unison for their growth as well as organizational growth in terms of leadership expectations. Same ways, the personal ability, it can be deliberated through training, practice, retraining. Then we come to social motivation and social ability. Your strategies can be how you can create the environment around you of people who motivate you, who support you. Then social ability, how you can empower those, how you can find those people who can create team, who can provide who can develop the social capital, so that more support you can get from the people in terms of positive behavior that you are creating in yourself. And third category, structural. So structural motivation and structural ability, which says that are the rewards given for the right behavior or not? And these rewards, are they real? Are they valuable? Are they creating positive image in minds of people or not? Right? And structural ability means, are you utilizing the environment, the space, which reinforces that positive motivation in people towards the change of that behavior or not? If we are able to bring, using these influences, change in our behavior, we would say that your leadership skills have developed. So I hope that you have enjoyed this session. It was great to have all of you in this. Thank you so much for being in the session.